welcome to this newest video in the I Am Eden video series. I am Mary Schaller Blaufuss. I serve at Eden as the Vice President for Advancement, and I am talking today with Sonya Vann, who is Eden's Director of Admissions and Financial Aid and an Eden alum. So welcome, Sonya.
Thank you so much, Mary. It's wonderful to be here today.
Tell us a little bit about what it feels like to be an Eden alum.
For me, being an Eden alum, it means a lot. Number one, I came into the wider United Church of Christ a couple of years before coming to Eden, and I was very purposeful and intent about how I wanted to be trained and be prepared for not necessarily congregational ministry, but for a wider sort of idea of moving the church and moving with the church as we sort of innovated and thought about new things. And so when I came to Eden, I found a place where I could dream out loud about all these things that I kind of kept close to my bosom in many ways, because it was just one of those moments that I realized that Eden was a place where we were prepared for congregational ministry, but it had far greater kind of ripple effects for the training that we received. And so being an Eden alum was wonderful. I spent half of my time before the Ferguson movement and the last part of my time after the Ferguson movement. So I saw Eden in many different aspects, but my favorite one is that Eden pivoted and pivoted well at a moment that that Ferguson needed them, that the nation needed some theological framework to really talk about this, and it needed some people who to represent this movement. And lo and behold, if many of those people did not come from Eden, and I think that speaks volumes as to why Eden is for me a premier place for theological education.
For people who might be looking at theological education and formation, why Eden? Why now?
I think that for me, there is a language of theological hope that doesn't come easily to people. And what Eden does for so many of our students, it's a living, breathing hope in theological formation that I think is abundantly evident once you get in your first class. It's sort of like, wait, I don't have to take every piece of it. I take it, I figure out how it works for me, and it becomes something new. And then I get to sit with other people and help them do the same thing. To me, that's the joy of what Eden does. Now, if I was to say why now, because the world needs people who can do that. It needs people who are not boxed into any one dogmatic piece of theological expression, but people who can sit down with people in their locale, with their background, and help them formulate how to deal with their situations before them. Why now? Because the world needs us more than it ever has.
And so, as the admissions director, tell us about the admissions team and what's giving you energy in that admissions work.
Wow, the admissions team is consisted of myself and Dana McNamara. Both of us are graduates of Eden, so we're both alum of Eden. We love the school, and we love what it did for us, right? So there's this desire to share this wonderful gift with everyone else. That's one side of it. The other side of it is that we know what the heavy lift is that's required to be successful and to graduate from Eden. And so what we want to do is make sure that our candidates for admission have the knowledge they need to make the best choice for themselves. And so that means that we're very careful about how we sort of curate our admissions processes and how we put them together. But we really want to make sure that everyone has a wonderful experience, not without its challenges, because I think that if your seminary doesn't challenge you to transform or be transformed, then it's not really doing the work, but that it's a place where you feel challenged to do it in a way that is godly, that is divine, and that speaks to where God is calling you. And so to me, to be at the grassroots beginning formation of that is a blessing because it's somewhat of a journey, and I know how that journey goes, but people are so hopeful, so you can't do anything but feed off of their hope coming in, and knowing what they want to accomplish, and then when you see them do it, when you see them do some really wonderful work and they want to share with you, that's to me the best part of it. But most of all, graduation day is just beautiful. It really is.
And I love how, in the admissions process, that really it's the heart of the theological formation, vocational discernment, that resilience that's needed. It starts from that very first contact.
Yes, it is. I would hope in our interview process. So once students go through and we collect their information and all of their application pieces, then their one of their final steps is to sit down in an interview with me. And I always know sort of how wonderful their classroom experience will be by how rambunctious maybe the conversation is, or just how enthusiastic they are. Because in that moment, I get to sit with them, right? When they're saying, I want to do this, but I'm not sure what it's going to look like. But I know that it's a leap of faith in many ways. And you're right, Mary. It's a wonderful moment to engage the church, literally emerging before our very eyes in these individual students and all the places that they will go. It's just a magnificent thing to be. But in particular, in admissions, we're putting together policies and processes to make this more meaningful long term. That students have all that they need coming in the door and that we're aware of what their needs are. And so much of the work that we're doing right now in admissions is reformatting and redeveloping policies to make sure that that happens early on, especially in an online learning system now. We need to better engage upfront and identify the needs of students upfront. And so I'm seeing that happen more and more, and the team is on board to make sure it happens as well.
Well, and I know that some of those policies that you're working with have to do with financial aid and scholarships, and how near and dear it is to your heart to make this financially possible for students, because this is a graduate theological education. It's a degree, and you have some experience and expertise in these areas.
I do. I started out for a more for-profit student loan company, literally fresh out of high school. It was one of the very first professional jobs that I had. And when I had the opportunity to go into sort of a more mission driven one, I chose a non for profit student loan servicer because it really spoke to the idea of giving back to the people and helping them be successful in their education, especially financially. So going forward, I got my call to ministry and I decided to go to Eden and do all these wonderful things. I never lost sight of the fact that at the core of those who want to see the church succeed should be a desire to help people better manage their indebtedness and to take that off of their backs in many ways because the world is not that nice to you when you come out. And, it really isn't. It's financially a lot to pay back those loans. And so a part of that is looking at financial aid. At Eden, financial aid consists of scholarships, grants, which are how we help students identify external opportunities for free money, and then last but not least is the federal direct loan program. All three of those come together to be the financial aid packages that we offer to individual students. And I am really excited because after sort of putting together a program that really benefited our Masters of Divinity students in their first year, what Eden has done is really rethought how can we best address the needs of students throughout their entire careers at Eden. And through different programs. We know the world is changing and how we meet the needs of the world require more than maybe the Masters of Divinity, and other degree programs should be supported as well. And so the new scholarship program that just was announced this February addresses the scholarship needs of all of our students, allows everyone to be able to engage them around merit, need, and the individual sort of named endowed criteria as well. And so we're right now accepting those scholarship applications. I am Eden. I am mother. I am daughter. I am a womanist theologian. I am Eden.